From South by Southwest to Peacock, this is Stormy. Go ahead and click that subscribe button because we're going to get into a film that I don't know if you're going to subscribe to me after I talk about it, but this is a documentary about Stormy Daniels, and it has audio description on Peacock, so I watched it. It's pretty simple about that. I kind of already told you what it's about, which is what I would do next. It's a documentary about Stormy Daniels. She says from the very beginning that she wanted this opportunity to be able to set the record straight, which immediately made me a little nervous because I don't like it when celebrities are too involved in either their own biopics or their own documentaries, because then they get to control what other people filter out about them and put on the screen. And luckily here, I feel like there were some things that at least Stormy didn't have like final edit, because not everything here necessarily makes her look like prom queen. So I'm not saying that I don't like Stormy Daniels or anything like that. I would say that about any biopic or documentary. I just always get a little when I feel like they're too involved. But anyway, let's talk about the audio description here, because the audio description here is not human. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's not human. And I don't think Peacock likes this movie. I don't think they care at all. I noticed a couple things that were interesting about my experience with this movie. First of all, there's no way this is not human audio description. There was a sort of a giveaway at the end when we have a lot of slides at the end that like catch people up on like where these people are now and how far they've come or where they end up or whatever. What did Stormy do? And you know that like ending scroll of crap. At the end of this film, there was one moment where the narrator read it, and obviously we didn't move to the next slide. So instead of doing sort of what humanistically a narrator would have done, realizing there's more coming, which would have been to finish, we got sort of left in mid sentence. And with this like weird pause, and it was like, and in 2021, it's just like, what? I feel like anybody else would have just read straight through that. But when you're programming a robot to do it, no, they read as is. And when you program a robot to kind of read text on the screen, which is basically, there was very little actual narration of any imagery here. It's really hard. I don't even know if they told you what Stormy Daniels looks like. I don't even remember a solid description of Stormy. I certainly don't remember a solid description of any of her friends or husbands or anybody like that who are in this film. There are people who pop into this film that are actually far more famous than Stormy Daniels, and they don't get name checked. I figured out it was Seth Rogen and Jimmy Kimmel that are both in this documentary, and I don't just mean in footage, but I mean like actually in the documentary. And when they're talking and being interviewed by the filmmakers, they're not name checked. You just have to be familiar with their voices. This is one of my least favorite audio description tracks of the year for many reasons. I don't think it's human. I'm not even sure it was written by humans, because of the way that it's programmed, and it doesn't even sound good. Like it just kind of disappears for long periods of time. It's like the film is the bare legal minimum requirement to be able to say it has audio description. It disappears for long periods of time. I know it's a documentary and there's a lot of talking in it, and that's a challenge, but that's why you need human narrators and writers, is because they would look at this and they'd find more ways to make this feel like a more dynamic experience instead of what this is, which is just like, oh, well, here's a break, so we're going to finally say something here. and it's usually text on screen. That's I'd say 80% of what the description is just reading text that's on the screen. So there's that. There's this one moment where Stormy like goes and she points out a picture and she's like, "Oh, this is my favorite picture. I love this picture." I'm like, I don't know what that picture is, girl. There's no audio in the description for it. I got nothing. So yeah, I don't like that at all. As far as the film, as far as the documentary goes, yeah, I thought it did a good job. I thought it did presented Stormy as she probably wanted, which is allowing her to tell her truth. And you can make up your own mind. I'm sure a lot of people already have, but at least it's her speaking without people shouting at her. She can say what she wants. She does get to break down her experience and put that out there, and it sort of shows her life and how this whole experience, I mean, it cost her a marriage. She doesn't even have full custody of her child. Her husband does. So, yeah, and there's a way that we treat adult film stars, and we always use the term porn star, and her feelings about that. My feelings are, it's just there are a lot of terms that we call people. Porn star is just it's an easier way of saying adult film star. And it means the same thing, but there are a lot of people who have connotations with their jobs. You'll say, "Oh, this is Doctor so and so. This is president. This is chairman. This is the CFO. This is whatever it is." A lot of times people just get introduced by their job titles and then their name, and even in interviews, this is author, this is political commentator, this is weatherman, this is, I mean, you just are what your job is. And that just was what her job is, which she seems to be proud of and does not shy away from. So I don't know why she, if you don't believe personally there's a stigma to it, then you shouldn't be ashamed of the title. So it doesn't bother me. I wasn't like, oh, Stormy Daniels must be lying because she's a porn star, and porn stars lie inherently. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. So this gives her an opportunity to say more of what she wants to say. And if you want to hear it, it's on Peacock. Peacock doesn't know it's on Peacock, but it's on Peacock. This did premiere at South by Southwest. This is so weird. It is a movie, but I should say that I also, I use Peacock with ads because I just don't think their library of audio description titles is that great. It doesn't really warrant me bumping up to the ad-free version just yet. And normally when I watch a movie, I don't get commercials. I get them before. I have to watch like 5 or 6 ads before watching the movie, which is fine because it's like watching previews. And then I get the movie uninterrupted. They were interrupting the movie, and there were some times where it was so weird, and they would say something that was like shocking or devastating, and then they'd be like, "Here's your diabetes drug." And it's just like, this is very inappropriate. And then at the end of it, because Peacock refuses to let anybody watch credits to anything because they're afraid that you're going to like leave the streaming service, they literally cut this film off while it was still going. I mean, my narrator was in the middle of narrating those end credits of where we are now credits. And just in the middle of speaking, done, out. It didn't even finish. I don't know how much more was left. So, yeah, Peacock just does not, it's like it's a chore for them to have this film. Why did you pick it up then? If you didn't want to do anything with it. Anyway, you can watch this on Peacock. I thought it was decent. I don't think it's going to win an Oscar, but they did a good job. So I'm going to give Stormy a B+, despite the audio description, which is among the worst I've heard so far this year. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for doing what I asked earlier and clicking that subscribe button. And you can... I will see you guys again on the other side.